Good morning. We are over Tijuana and we're heading up past LA on up kind of straddling the coastal range between the San Joaquin Valley where Fresno and Bakersfield down here. Here's Fresno. Here's Las Vegas way over there. We're not going near there. And Santa Barbara would be down in here. San Luis Obispo. As we go up, here's Monterey Bay, and ultimately we'll go into San Francisco. We'll be at approximately 100,000, give or take a few, because we don't have an autopilot. In Darkstar, get this out of the way. There's Darkstar up on the left, and we'll go ahead and click fly and see what happens here. I don't know where that might be, and I don't know what airplane we're in either. Here we go, ready to fly, and we'll get the lights on here. First of all, we'll stop the aircraft, and we'll go ahead and click that. That gets, you see we're almost Mach 3 down here, and up here you see Mach 3. We'll turn on the standby of the scramjet, which will get us up to Mach 9 plus. We are on course right here, and we'll come down, turn on the battery, whatever that does, and then we'll go to full power, except we aren't the afterburners. You have to do that to get the afterburners on. So we'll get back up here, turn on the lights. Said that twice, I think. And we'll put it right. You can put it anywhere because the sun will be behind us, so we should have good resolution. We'll go outside, look out, and see how things look out here, and we'll be turning things on real quickly. But there is what do I want to call that? That's San Diego, but that harbor is Imperial Beach, Chula Vista, and Coronado. Coronado is right up there, so we're right over Tijuana, and that's right below us there. Okay, we'll click that off, and we'll get back here. And we'll get going, and we'll see this bounce around. We'll try to hold it steady. There's kicking in the scramjet. We're looking up here at probably Catalina on the left, and there it kicks in full blast. We're just kicking up to Mach 4. We can look right down here. And there goes the turbo chargers. We'll take one peek back at San Diego as we leave. Right there. Coronado, like I said, and San Diego right under us. There we go. Right in there. And then we'll look over here. There are a few lakes, but the Salton Sea, I'm not sure. That might be the Salton Sea right out there. I'm not sure of that.
Experimental 7 Bravo Charlie, contact Los Angeles Center on 132.85.
Okay.
Good day.
And we're not going to talk with them, so we'll just acknowledge the handoff.
132.85, Experimental 7 Bravo Charlie. Goodbye.
And we'll get rid of that. And let's see what we're doing here. Now we're gaining some altitude back. And let's see, this is now we're looking at the LA. Yeah. And let's see, Santa Catalina, right there, Avalon. Here's the Isthmus, Santa Catalina, the airport up high right there. And we don't need to be going left too far here. We'll look down at LAX. And let's see if we spot LAX. don't quite spot it. It's right in there. There's LAX. Right back there is Palos Verdes. Let's see here. Yeah, Palos Verdes, and we're heading up. There's the Mojave Desert right out in there. Then we come up to Bakersfield, and Fresno is right up along in there. We start looking up the bay here. Here's probably let's see, that's Point Magoo, Oxnard. We probably got by there already. Yeah, we're really moving out. Yeah, back in there, Point Magoo and Oxnard right off over there, and then Santa Barbara right along in here. There's Santa Barbara right along in there, and then we get up to Monterey Bay. Big Sur is right along in here. What's our, let's see what our altitude is here. Let's go inside. Yeah, we've dropped down to well, wait a minute. We're way up there. We're way up. Holy cow. How did we get up this high? Wow. So we're coming up on San Francisco Bay, and this is so quick that let's see, what's our speed? We're Mach 9.9. So up at 200,000 plus, we really rip along here. We look out to Mono Lake out over the Sierras there. We can see over to Lake Tahoe. There's Lake Tahoe over there. Here's of course the San Francisco Bay. Well, we're just going to keep riding along here. We've got places to go and things to see. And here's Point Reyes. Here's Half Moon Bay. Right, we're just passing over Half Moon Bay. And here's the Sacramento River coming down. And Sacramento would be right up in there. This is where I had my boat on the Delta over here by Antioch. There's Frank's Tract, that lake right in there. That was a tract of land that blew down 100 years ago. It has been a lake ever since. They just call it Frank's Tract. And then on up, we'll see. I forget. This is over by Chico. In there, this is Shasta Lake, right there, and then we come up the coast. We're going to see my old stomping grounds. I flew the mail up and down from Eureka down to San Francisco and back 6 nights a week, right along that section in there. When I was doing that, I was at about 8,000-9,000 feet. Now we're down to 59,000. So we might as well continue down, and we'll watch for Eureka in here, and we'll land where I used to drop off the mail at Arcata. And right along in here is Sea Ranch is right along in that section right in there. Used to go up and land a little airport up on top there, and we'll see. Should see Fort Bragg. Here is Little River Airport, right there, and then just north of there would be Fort Bragg. Mendocino is just to the south there. So Fort Bragg, we're looking right down at Fort Bragg, right there. We just passed Fort Bragg, right in there. Mendocino would just be a little bit south of there, and then we're come on up and start. I'm seeing Humboldt Bay, so we'll continue down. We're at Mach 7, so we'll start coming back on the power. And, start roping this machine in. Here we go. And there's Humboldt Bay. We'll bring the power back and start seeing. There's the Eel River, and the North Fork and the South Fork. Highway 101 goes along the South Fork here, on down to Laytonville, and on down to Ukiah, Santa Rosa. Highway 101 goes down that way. Willits is where the train stops. And we're 60,000. We can put the air brakes out. We'll splay out the tail, and we'll look here at Humboldt Bay. Here's the Eel River exiting into the Pacific. Down here is Ronerville, Scotia. That's where Redwood Lumber Company used to operate out of Scotia. And then this is Humboldt Bay, and then north of Humboldt Bay, the little maintenance facility for my mail plane, the de Havilland Dove, was right here at Murray Field, right next to Eureka is right there. And we can let this come on down. Then Highway 101 goes right along here and around the bay and continues on north up past. Well, right here is north of Eureka here. This is Samoa out in here, and then I think it was that I want to say Trinidad, but I forget the name of. Here's Moonstone Beach. I used to rent a cottage right there at Moonstone Beach, and then the airport is going to be off to my right. I have to look right along in here is where the airport is that we're going to land. So we got it down to 200. We'll put the gear down. Let's look out at it. Get the gear down. There we go. Put the drag away. There's California Coast, Humboldt County Airport, right there. So we'll land back the opposite direction I used to come in. When I was flying the mail, normally this was fogged in, and I would come in over Neyland, which is up here. There's a little airport up there, but I would shoot my final approach from there, coming down this hill. This is the Mad River coming out right there. Again, up here was Moonstone Beach, and let me look on my map here. I'll get the name of maybe it was Trinidad. Yeah, it was Trinidad, and McKinleyville was along in there, and we got to get down. We're at 16,000. We'll look back here at the airport right there. We're going to land. Yeah, this was Trinidad. The little cabin that I had was right along in here at Moonstone Beach. Was right in that area. Highway 101 was right above it there, and we got our speed just fine. Let's move the sun to the south so we don't have that in our eyes. Southwest. And we'll start coming around. So we're at 6,000 feet. We better bring up some power. Wow, that didn't take any time at all. It seemed like it didn't take much time. We'll get back here on the tail and see what that looks like. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. There's Trinidad. They had a little activity when we had an earthquake up in Alaska. They got a little bit of a tsunami there. Well, we're heading right for our runway. Keep it above 200. Coming down a little fast to add a little power to slow our descent. That's stabilizing. Getting lined up here. Looking pretty good. Do a little wig wagging. A little wig wagging. And we'll pull right up to the terminal. How's that? And I'd come in the other way. Straight ahead was Neyland Airport, was up on the hill out there, about 5 miles out. And this is the foggiest airport in the continental limits of the United States. So I only had one night where I couldn't make it back in, but we had a ton of fog. Yeah, we're just pulling out here. Display ourselves prominently. The Eureka Airport. I mean, it's Arcata Airport, or the Redwood Empire. Here it says California Redwood Coast Humboldt County Airport. There we go. And there was a hangar over here. There was a terminal here, and of course it doesn't look quite like this. And this was a World War II hangar. They used to have barracks back here, but those are gone. And they did develop the first instrument landing system. The first ILS system was developed here and experimented in the experimental stage. It was here. They may have had other airports that were experimenting, but when they put it online, this airport was one of the last to get the ILS system. But that's what I used is the ILS. Anyway, that's your flight from San Diego to Northern California. Sorry about the yo-yo action, but that's since we don't have an autopilot or a co-pilot to maintain the heading and altitude. I get to talking and you can't. You got to keep your eye on the artificial horizon here to keep this baby from yo-yoing. Thanks for riding along. We'll see you soon. Here, saying goodbye from we just called it Arcata Airport, but the more or beautiful title would be California Redwood Coast hyphen Humboldt County Airport, next to McKinleyville. Okay, thanks for riding along. Take care.